As part of the war, military jets are being used to support efforts and take out targets.
And our guest knows quite a bit about flying fighter jets in the Middle East. Current Onondaga County Court judge, but former 174th pilot Ted Limpert. We're so thrilled that you're here because this is an important conversation to have. You have such great insight.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to help.
So let's go through your resume a little bit and tell us how much did you fly and what missions were you flying?
So I had 7 deployments over in the Middle East and flew 106 combat missions. 52 during Desert Storm, and the rest were conflicts after that, mostly Operation Enduring Freedom, Northern Watch, Iraqi Freedom, so a bunch of missions over there.
So probably like late 80s, early 90s, all the way up to like 2009?
From the 90s all the way through 2009,
wow.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And maybe you could share what that experience is like in that section of the world to fly there and face conflict.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously quite different from flying, you know, in northern New York where there's a lot of green and beautiful lakes. I mean, it's quite stark. You know, it's mostly desert where we were flying over in Iraq. So it's quite an experience, and it's obviously the temperature's quite a bit different. So that puts a great stress, especially on our maintenance folks, you know, who spend a lot of time. They're out on the flight line 12 hours working on the airplanes, and, you know, while the pilots were in the air-conditioned tents pretty much. So, but it is quite a different experience. And flying over there, you know, with the dust storms and things like that, that creates quite a bit of havoc for you when you're up there.
Yeah. Visually, does it have any effect on the planes themselves and the equipment, sand in stuff?
The sand absolutely does.
Oh, okay.
It can, yeah, it can affect different parts of the airplane, different, obviously the engine and things like that, and some of the other things that operate there. So that maintenance guys are really good about keeping the airplanes clean and keeping the sand out of there.
Right, and we know you're familiar, obviously, with 174th, which is what was flown at Syracuse Hancock Air Base. But what about pilots now? Differences in the technology that they're using and the types of aircraft?
Absolutely. Well, they're still flying F-16s over there, but they now have the F-35. And, you know, it is quite a jump in technology over the past 25, 30 years. When we were there, we were dropping mostly unguided weapons, unguided bombs. Now you see really GPS-guided bombs, and that's the majority probably of the weaponry that they're using over there. They're extremely precise. They use special GPS coordinates, and as long as they know the coordinates of the target, they can hit that target pretty much with impunity. They also use laser-guided bombs. So for targets maybe that are more targets of opportunity that maybe they didn't have the coordinates for, they can use their targeting pod, which magnifies what's on the ground, either with a TV or infrared, and then they put a laser on that target, and then the bomb itself will fly down that laser beam into the target.
I'm very curious, though, and you were just talking about bombs. I mean, obviously that's part of being in the theater of war. When you get in that seat of, for you, back in the day, was the F-16, what's the feeling that goes through you? What's that like? Inside, in your head? What's
well,
it feel
when
like?
we, you know, on our first couple missions, you know, we were very worried about the surface-to-air threat because we didn't really know what they were going to put up against us, and it got to be quite chaotic at the beginning. They threw up a lot of missiles, fired a lot of guns at us. You know, I had a missile fired at me one time, was able to evade it. You know, we carry countermeasures for that, a jamming pod, chaff and flares, which they use both of those today. So one of the goals initially when you go into a theater like that, into a conflict, is to suppress the enemy air defenses. So they want to make sure that you can maintain not only air superiority, but superiority over any surface-to-air threat. So a lot of times if you can do that, and they have specialized airplanes and specialized weaponry that are anti-radiation missiles that'll go against the radars that target your airplane. So they'll go in and hit those targets first, then the aircraft carrying the bombs can come in after that and really operate without too much threat, although there's still handheld and other types of weaponry that you have to be concerned about.
Right. Curious about drones. How much has that changed military operations and in the theater, as you put it?
Well, quite a bit. So first thing you have to remember about drones is they don't really have any self-protection. So you have to have pretty much dominance of the airspace in order to employ the drones. Otherwise, they'd be shooting them out of the sky. But once you've established dominance in the airspace, then the drones can operate and provide you with quite a bit of intelligence on what's going on over there. Like when we flew the subsequent missions in Iraq and Afghanistan, we were flying Overwatch, protecting the troops on the ground. You know, we could do that for 4 or 5 hours, but a drone can do it for 20. So the Reapers that are flying out of Syracuse, you know, can employ for 20 hours. The pilots that are flying here can hop out of the seat and switch with someone that's fresh. So they really do provide quite a bit of enhanced capability.
Ted, thank you so much for your insight. I really appreciate it as we kind of like navigate and go through all this. It really gives us a really great understanding of some of what's going on there. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Ted.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.